Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Accelerator. Brandon here, your chief business strategist and digital plumber, fixing those leaks in your marketing and sales pipeline. I have a fantastic guest here today and kind of in my wheelhouse a little bit with regards to family and things like that. My wife's a teacher, and Miss Polly Benson here from LegiLiner has a unique tool that can help educators teach their children and make these amazing sheets and worksheets so super quickly. When I took a look at the product, I was like thinking, why is she contacting me with this struggle? Because this thing is an amazing product. So,
Thanks.
Polly, welcome to the show.
Thanks for
Glad
having
to,
me, Brandon.
absolutely, absolutely. So let's give everybody a brief background of who you are, what you do, and what's going on with LegiLiner.
Yeah, so as you said, I'm Polly Benson. I am an occupational therapist, and I'm the creator and inventor of LegiLiner. And LegiLiners are rolling ink stamps. I have a couple right here. They draw lines and shapes for handwriting, music, and math. So we even have a math staff. But you just have a blank piece of paper. You roll out the lines and you can practice your handwriting. And for other kids, like maybe they're doing math and they're trying to count or do fractions, then we can quickly roll out some shapes. So that's in a nutshell what the LegiLiner is. I was working with students in the classroom, pushing into classes. So as an occupational therapist, I don't have my own classroom, but I go into different teachers' classrooms that kids are struggling. And there were so many kids that had trouble with handwriting and in fourth grade and fifth grade and even middle school. And so I knew that I was helping them, but I wanted to, while I was gone, that they would still have the consistent handwriting practice because a lot of kids were given worksheets that just had an open space. And so it's like, there's this box. Now answer the question in this box. And, kids need guidelines. They need to know that they don't write this big. And when they're given lines, they know to write smaller. And so I knew I needed a rolling stamp. And I went home and searched for it on the internet, couldn't find it. And so I had one made and I started taking that to the classrooms. And it was this big rollograph stamp, which is a scrapbooking, it just had my own pattern on it. And the teachers went crazy. They were like, you need to patent this. And so I went back to my office and tried to figure out how to do a patent and how to create this thing. And that's kind of where it all started. Yeah, so here we are today, this 6 years later. I manufacture 21 different stamp patterns, and I'm also doing all sorts of teaching, continuing education. I'm doing vendor events, and yeah, that's kind of where it is right now. It's been really fun. The teachers just are so thankful to have that tool in their wheelhouse.
Awesome, awesome. And when you're just getting started, I mean, what was the biggest molehill that you had to climb to really get it off the ground?
Yeah, initially, the first molehill was trying to figure out, like, how do I find a plastic manufacturer and how do I make a mold and how do I find an engineer? And, there's components in there that what I was using was way too big. It wasn't the right thing. I needed a patent for the utility of what it does versus a design patent. And then I needed to get it small and compact. And so this rollograph, it looks like a pizza cutter, but these are super small. They can fit in your pocket or your pencil pouch. And so that was important to me was the quality, that it didn't smear, that it dried right away. It was refillable ink and it wasn't something that got thrown away. Part of the hurdles were overcoming all that. Once we started manufacturing, then it was just, okay, how do I grow? And one of our decisions was to put it on Amazon. And so we went on Amazon and a teacher found it, unbeknownst to me, posted about it in her social media, and literally I had Shopify and my phone was going ding, 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 ding. Like it was overselling. I sold out of everything I had. I didn't know on Amazon that you have to turn a little switch that says stop selling when out of stock. So I oversold 4,000 units. And then I was in Amazon jail. And so I couldn't do a lot of things with that. And you can't email, you can't get reviews. There's all those things that help you grow. They thought I was a fraud. I got a lot of bad press.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that little uptick also exposed me to copycats. And so
Uh,
because it had that huge jump, Other people saw that and they copied me. So unfortunately, there's the good and the bad with going viral.
Of course, of course. And I mean, I know you have the patent and the protections on there. I mean, what ended up happening that people were able to, kind of circumvent that? I mean, I know when fidget spinners were the big hot thing, right? And then you had the original 3 or 4 lobed ones, and then you had the 6 and 7 and 8. I mean, the concept is a fidget spinner. So how are people able to, not trying to give away secrets here, but
Yeah.
like, how are you not able to continuously protect that and sue? I mean, of course, there's lots of legal money tied to that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
how are you not able to do that?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I was only patent pending at the time.
Mm.
And so they were able to, then I wasn't able to complete my patent because of that problem. And so I'm currently patent pending on a new stamp, and I'm not going anywhere near sales until that patent is completed. And I think that was part of it. The other part of it is then how to deal with it. Like, you can't sue people overseas with no money, right? And they're big companies. I'm a one person show at that point. And so it at first my thought was, wow, that's very flattering, and when I first was selling the Ledgy Liners, I'm like, oh, let them copy me. I want to get this out there to everybody. And then it was like, oh darn, like it really taking a significant market share, because when I had 100% on Amazon and went down to, I think the lowest I was 8% market share. It was like, this is my product. I should have 100% of this market share. And so I'm back up to like 15, 20%. And there's some strategies that you can do. It's kind of like, if you look at soda, there's a lot of sodas out there, and Coke and Pepsi, they have like the stronghold, right? So you want to be the Coke or Pepsi of your little world. And so for my product, it was the way I switched around my marketing. So it's not just a stamp. I have a handwriting concept, a tool, I say a therapeutic approach to handwriting. I'm an occupational therapist. I am the expert. I provide trainings. I provide free worksheets that go with my stamps. So now on Amazon, I've revamped my store. I've revamped my marketing approach, and I'm becoming like the Coke of the handwriting stamp world. What I do is I sell one stamp, and then it's like I get them in my world. And then I was like, look, I have these other stamps that complement what you got. We do a lot of vendor events. We kill it at vendor events. I have, in fact, for your listeners, if they're interested, I have a ultimate guide to vendor events and how to be successful at a vendor event. And so I think I'm up to 50,000 emails just by people are able to come to my booth. They see me, they like it, they want to get on my email list. And so that's kind of a ground roots effort, but that's how I'm combating all the competition.
Yeah, that's definitely key. You can't stop anybody from stealing. I know we got the huge issues overseas of the replication and duplication, but it's never the original. And I think that's where the strongest marketing is. It's like you can say you are the original LegiLiner. You have the highest quality as far as materials go, inks go, pad wear go, and things like that. So, don't be fooled by the cheaper knockoff, if you want to call it that. But ultimately, you get what you pay for, right?
Right. Yeah.
So at this current time, so you've been doing this 6 years. It's definitely hasn't been an overnight success, and I think you're kind of poised at that launching point to go even further. What do you think the next step would be to push you over that ledge?
Yeah, what I'm doing right now is a lot of strategic partnerships. We have an affiliate program. We're doing probably 500,000 to 3/4 a year. My goal is to get over $1 million in gross revenues. And, I think the push right now is these strategic partnerships. So I position myself as an expert with different websites that cater to homeschool parents. I've made a strategic partnership with some catalog companies, and we also work with influencers. And we are starting, like in my world, when I first started out, this was my product. So I couldn't give it away for free. But now I'm at the point where I can do like a book funnel where I give one away for free, and then people see the upsells and they're like, oh gosh, I saw this one thing I wanted, but now I want all the others that go with it, because it's a strategic approach to helping that student improve. And I'm just working on different types of partnerships with people. I'm doing podcasts. I'm trying to get my name out there. And really, it's all about awareness and growth. And like you said, the original.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the free plus shipping offer is kind of a keystone in a lot of marketing tactics, so to speak. It kind of, if you market like a drug dealer, you'll never not have a customer, I guess is the best way. This is the best way to put it. The first one's free, right?
Yeah. And
So
well, I mean, a lot of teachers and moms, they love the free stuff. So you start with one, and then I've got 21 that I can upsell. It's been very interesting to see that that's the funnel that works best with my audience, but it's also been 3 years in the ClickFunnels world and trying to figure out which funnel is best and doing a challenge funnel and doing my worksheet funnel. I've created an entire membership site, and that's just struggling along. And that's where I'm like, I would love that recurring revenue to be more producive for me. And that certainly it's like I'm right there. You keep going, you keep hoping, you're get the trainings and you get it set up. And I've got all the pieces in part. I've got the low ticket offer, the high ticket offer. We just started a mastermind and we have 12 people in our mastermind. And that's literally just kicked off this week. So, that's another part of growth is getting from I'm just a product to I'm a business to I'm now helping other people get to where I was, get to where I've been. And I see so many people at vendor events, they have their one little product and it's like, oh, I can help you get to here. And I need someone else to help me get to there.
yeah, everybody's at a different level, and everybody can help everybody at some point until they absolutely can't. So that's great that you're helping these other vendors and reaching out to them and showing them the things that have worked for you. Not only does it reinforce what you've already done, but it also just rises all the other boats around you. So as far as other media goes, you're doing the podcast circuit here. What else are you doing media wise?
Yeah, so I was accepted to be on the Legacy Makers show, and that was a super fun experience. And it's one of those things that it popped up. I'm sure it was a funnel, and it popped up in my feed, and it was like, "Do you want to be a legacy maker?" And it was like, what legacy am I leaving? And being an occupational therapist, one of the processes I went through with figuring out my avatar was what was my why. And one of my whys is helping the special needs community. And so not only do I feel passionate towards kids that are struggling with handwriting, as other kids that are struggling with handwriting have special needs and are become adults, they also are still struggling with life skills and things like that. And I partner with a local organization called Bloom Enterprises, and we are providing job skills for them where they package some of my products, they sticker my products, they help me with my vendor event giveaways. And it just warms my heart to when I walk in the building and they're like, Miss Polly, and they're just so excited to see me. And we did all this work for you. And they're learning job skills. And then we give them feedback. Sometimes there's little errors or things like that. And so we try to hold them accountable. And it's been really super great partnership for us. We take 10% of our profits and we give back to the special needs community. So I'm providing thousands of dollars for them to keep that facility going. And in return, they're helping me with some job skills. And it's one of those things that it's like, where do I want my legacy to lie? Do I just want to invent a stamp, sell it, and be done with it? No, I want it to last on and on. I want my kids to take over this business. I want to make a difference in the world. And so many teachers come up to me at a conference or a convention and they say, I love my Ledgy Liners, or you've changed my life, or they'll tell me a story of a student that was struggling and then they got to draw their own lines and they used it over and over every day and they understood. Like giving them that guideline was helping them to feel more confident and improve their grades. So many times when kids are struggling, they struggle in all the areas because their self-esteem is low. But if a part of it is the handwriting, and they can see that they can get really neat handwriting, then that improves their self-esteem, their self-confidence, and their grades. It just all is a big snowball. That's what I'm working on is like, what legacy do I want to leave? the experience on the TV show. It's coming out this summer. Be super fun. I can't wait. We did filming at Bloom Enterprises and we did filming down in Miami. And so just super fun opportunity for us. We were only one, there was 14, at the time I applied, there were 14,000 applicants. And I was only one of 250 that were accepted. So I had to go through like a double interview process, and that was really fun.
That's awesome. Looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing that come out. I got another friend that's in that group as well, Miss Alyssa there, and look forward to seeing her episode. She's doing some amazing work in that space as well. And you mentioned as part of the occupational therapy and teaching, kids to write things like that. I think writing is so important. And this day and age, like we're getting so far away from that with the computers and typing and things like that. How have you found handwriting to be like one of the cornerstones in helping somebody with whatever issues they may be having?
Yeah. So, it handwriting starts out right in pre-K, kindergarten, letter formations, and some kids pick it up really quickly and they work on it in first and a little up to first grade, maybe a little bit in second. But by second grade, kids are writing words and they're developing their own handwriting style, so to speak. And you start to some kids get really frilly and some kids get really slanted and some kids aren't doing so well and have trouble with spacing. And the teachers are so busy, they don't have time to really focus on that. It's often one of those skills that can be formed all the way through adulthood. Like our brain is constantly rewiring and making neural connections. And so it's like a muscle that you have to exercise, and people move to typing. And I'm of an generation that I learned how to type in seventh grade. I didn't have computers in school. These kids are in kindergarten and they're typing on computers, and developmentally their muscles and their hands are not ready for that. And so that is causing some problems. And there's another situation where they used to teach cursive writing for a grade. And cursive requires a very specific set of skills and intrinsic muscle coordination to do that. And so when I was learning cursive, we switched over from print to cursive around third grade. And then we just kept going all the way through high school and college. I always wrote in cursive, but what they had gone to in the last few years was just this is how it is and how to do it. And then they moved on and let the kids chose by the end of third grade. It tended to be like a semester of learning, and that was it.
Hmm.
And so they are now starting to mandate some cursive in, I think we're up to 7 states right now. And the reason they're mandating it is because kids can't read it. Because some of our generation, that's all we do is write in cursive. And so, it's conundrum of technology is great, but we aren't moving away from handwriting. A lot of times people say, I don't need to write. Well, do you like to receive a handwritten note from somebody, a card, or do you prefer an e-card? It's one of those things. Like I have writings from my grandmother who has passed on, and like I treasure her handwriting. My mother has passed along things to me. If all we do is type and is all we have is digital greeting cards with a blank text, there's no personality there. If all you end up with besides digital pictures is thoughts and memories, then, what are we cherishing in this world? And so, handwriting is kind of a dying and lost skill in some ways, but, it because everyone develops their own handwriting style, you can feel the personality come through those words. So, yeah, I really think that that's kind of cool too. And we need to keep doing it. We make a grocery list. You leave a note for somebody at their door. Sorry, I stopped by. You weren't here, whatever it may be.
Hmm.
But handwriting definitely is important still in this world.
Absolutely, absolutely, and all of our most precious and major country documents are written in cursive, the
Yeah,
originals, right? And so if you can't never read them, if the digital versions, whatever, crash and burn, you have this document here that nobody can read and understand and comprehend, and that could be a problem. So
yeah.
yeah, writing
Some
is
hieroglyphics. Like, what does this say?
exactly. We can't read Egyptian. I mean, we can't now, but I mean, for thousands of years, like no one knew what the heck, all the symbols along the walls were. Obviously, they were
Right.
important, right? They wouldn't be made, but we couldn't read them until we found the key. And if we have to find another key to figure out cursive writing, it's gonna be a mess. So a little bit ago, we'll circle back. You mentioned a little bit of your tech stack for how you're running and managing the business, the Amazon, the Shopify, and you mentioned funnels there. I mean, what have you kind of finally landed on that gives you the best flow to make a sale? Obviously, in the e-commerce world.
Yeah. So for me, initially, I feel like kind of my best flow is meeting people at these vendor events. And so I have them scan a QR code, which takes them to one of my landing pages on ClickFunnels. And they, what they're doing is they're entering to win a prize. And so typically that's $50 worth of product from my company. And on that page, they put their name, their email, and like what position they are, if they're a teacher, an OT, a parent. And so that can then help me kind of guide my marketing towards that specific person. And once they hit submit, then my thank you page has a free download on it. And the free download, which in my world is very popular, is 15 ways to use mini erasers for fine motor handwriting skills. And so, sometimes people just enter because they want that download. And the trick is don't let them scan the QR code and like, oh, I'll do it later. Like, oh, I want to show you where the download is. And so if you hit submit, you'll see a blue button. And so it's like, and then they'll finish it. And once I started helping them to find that download, it really improved my conversion rate on that funnel. So I'm getting a lot of scans. Sometimes you're at events and the Wi-Fi is not working. Well, then I let them use my phone. Say, oh, well, here, use my phone. Like mine's working. There are a variety of phones or, people that come by that, have older versions of a phone that may not be working very well in the Wi-Fi world. So that really helps my conversion. Then from there, I send out a thing called Worksheet Wednesdays. So those are free worksheets. And I tell them at the table, you're going to get a free worksheet every Wednesday, no cost to you, and they are designed to go with my LegiLiner. So they're some sort of a theme, and like let's say it's National Strawberry Day, and so then they'll get a little worksheet about Strawberry Day, and then the next week they get another worksheet. And so, but if you want access to all the past worksheets, then you join my membership site, and you can easily find the worksheets on there. And then I went through a training where I was like, okay, what's my next offer is lesson plans. And so what I found as an OT was I would start my day in, say, a seventh grade classroom. And then I had to go back to the elementary school and I would do a fourth grader, a kindergartner, a first grader, another kindergarten group. Then I might hop up and see a fifth grade student, or I might jump online. We had, after COVID, we did a lot of online students. And then I had to drive over to the high school and see some students there. And so I was working with a bunch of different age groups. But what I found was providing them a lesson plan, these other therapists, a lesson plan where they could use one thing like Strawberry Day. And then that works for a kindergartner. It works all the way for a high schooler. And so with the kindergartner, we're writing the word strawberry. With a high schooler, we're writing a story about strawberries, or we're cooking with strawberries and making a list and making it very functional. And so, having those lesson plans then was another key to improving my offer. As far as for what I do after, it's another way to bring people into my world is a 3-day challenge. And the 3-day challenge teaches them, the teachers and therapists, like why your student might be struggling, and parents as well, why your student might be struggling, what are the key components to look for. And then after we identify what the deficits are, how to use my Ledgy Liners and different ways and techniques to motivate that student for writing and to carry out the lesson plans. I've taken 8 lesson plans and made a summer camp out of it, and repurposing some of my material that way. And also with the challenge with the therapists, I'm able to offer continuing education units. And so they can have it for free, but if they want the course certificate, then they have to pay for the CEUs. And that for parents, it's great information. And then you start becoming the expert in your field, and then they want to buy more Ledgy Liners and get into your continuity program.
Very nice. Yeah, it looks and sounds like you have a lot of education tied into the back end of the product, which is phenomenal. Because again, anybody can make a roller stamp, as have found out. but it's the value that you're bringing behind it as to why the stamp was made is the real business and real product with that. Holly, this has been absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing your story and giving those out there the hope and the dream to get out there and invent something to solve a problem and to change the world and become a legacy. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on to the show.
You're welcome. And if people want to reach out to me, they can find me on Instagram at LegiLiner. They can find me on Facebook at Ledgy-Liner. My website is LegiLiner.com. My ClickFunnels site, if they want to funnel hack me, is LegiLiner.net. And yeah, it's been real fun. I'm putting myself out there. Hopefully, they'll find me on the Legacy Makers TV show this summer. And I look forward to hearing from your guests.
Well, again, thank you. All those links will be in the description below. So be sure to check that out. Leave a like, comment, and review, and let us know what you thought about the show. And if you're going to be picking up a LegiLiner for your little one.
Perfect. Have a great day.
All right. You too. Take care.
Bye.